Okay, Assalamualaikum and hello to Raffi'ai. My name is Adilah Hafizah Binti Aziz. My metric number is 259190. Today I will present on our group assignment presentation about the international merge and acquisition of Apple and Intel, which is my part is about the company background. Okay, first of all, I will start with the introduction of Apple Incorporation. Apple Incorporation is an American multinational corporation. It is developing and also designing the digital, electronic, and computer product for consumer. The Macintosh computer, the iPod, and the iPhone are the company best known hardware product. It is literally known as the company among the best product hardware. Apple software include the operating system of OS X, Mac operating system, also the creativity software and the multimedia lifestyle. Other than that, it also include the iTunes, a professional software product for film and industry, and also audio site and many more. Apple has over 500 online store which is hardware and software product are being sold. Next, I will explain the Apple Incorporation industry structure. Apple has innovating and following a path considerably different from the main competitor in the industry, which is Apple has strongly differentiating its product from those of the competition by preferring to concentrate on quality, elegance of design, and superior customer service. Those outsourcing actual manufacturer to trusted manufacturer of original equipment. Other than that, Apple has generated for itself the stiff competition. It is within the market and other external variables provide the business with formidable challenges. Apple also uses of key resource and skill that including industry-leading design department, talented software and hardware engineer, funded by a large research and development budget. It is also responsible for a portfolio of thousands of patents, and also the Steve Jobs, the former CEO of Apple, has a strategically genius stewardship. Moreover, Apple also look at a new and developing markets. Next, I will present about the Apple Incorporation Management and Board of Directors. Apple Board of Directors oversees the Chief Executive Officer and other senior management in the competent and ethical operation of Apple on a day-to-day basis and assure that the long-term interests of shareholders are being served. In terms to satisfy the board duties, directors are expected to take proactive, focused approach to their position and set standards to ensure that Apple is committed to business success through the maintenance of high standards of responsibility and ethics. According to the picture and table given, we can see the name and the title and also the board role of Apple Board of Director. And now the current CEO of Apple is named Tim Cook. Okay, next I will proceed to the Apple Incorporation corporate mission and vision. The vision of Apple is to bring the best personal computing product and support to students, educators, designers, scientists, engineers, business persons, and consumers around the world. While the mission of Apple Incorporation mission is stated on their company website is the following, which is Apple Design Max, the best personal computer in the world along with OS X, iLife, iWork, and professional software. Apple leads the digital music revolution with its iPods and iTunes online store. The last one is about the location of the Apple Incorporation. Apple Incorporation is based in Cupertino, California. So, based on the previous slide, uh, we can know the mainly of Apple is the American multinational company that design and sell consumer electronic software and services. Okay, that's all from my part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. My name is Samsi Lutfia. My metric number is 252097. And today I'm going to present to you about the Apple's and Intel's company strategies. So we first going to present to you about the Apple's company strategies. So Apple first company strategies is about Apple ecosystems. Apple has always developed, design, and also manufacture its hardware and software in-house. For example, when someone buy an iPhone, they soon start using a view of its online services such as iCloud for storage. Herein lies its brilliance, but the hardware, software, and services on the iPhone are so well designed and intuitive to use that they soon fully embrace it. Once they do, it leads them to create a good image, and also only the rest of Apple devices can use the services. The second strategy from Apple is customer relations. So Apple has always made a major point in providing stellar customer services and has been able to facilitate this with its Apple Care services. This has helped Apple set itself apart from the rest of the competition in terms of customer relation and support. So we continue to third strategy from Apple, which is form over function. So one of Apple's main strategies when it comes to product development lies in its ability to provide well-designed product and service, with emphasis on minimalism, clean lines, and solid tones. Okay, number 4 is brand differentiation. So Apple's brand and marketing strategy have always made it a point to promote itself as a luxury brand while focusing on differentiating itself from its competitors. Okay, the last strategy from Apple is customer privacy. Apple has always made it clear that it values customer privacy and has shown to handle its customers' data much better than the rest of its competitors. Okay, that's all for Apple company strategies. Now we continue to Intel company strategies. Okay, the first Intel strategy is Porter's model. So Intel's generic strategy or Porter's model develop competitive advantage through rapid innovation to lead the industry. Such innovation is also critical to the effectiveness of Intel's intensive growth strategies. Okay, the second strategy is about intensive growth strategies. So the first is about product development, or we call it as primary. Product development support business growth through new products that increase revenues. For example, Intel supports its continued growth and global market dominance through the introduction of new processors that make previous processors obsolete. And then next is market penetration, or we call it as secondary. So the market penetration intensive growth strategy involves selling more products to current customers. For example, the company has special agreements with laptop manufacturers to use Intel microprocessor in their product. The differentiation generic strategy pushed the company to develop competitive advantage based on advanced features and high quality in product development. Such features and quality support the effective implementation of the market penetration intensive. Next is market development, or we call it as supporting. So the market development intensive growth strategy serves a supporting role in Intel Corporation's progress. In implementing this intensive strategy, growth is achieved by entering new markets or market segment, or by creating a new market for novel products. The last is diversification. This intensive strategy facilitates the company's growth through new business. For example, the 2016 acquisition of the German company Ascending Technologies, which developed unmanned aerial vehicles, contributed to the diversification of Intel's business. That's all from me. Thank you so much. And now we pass to the next presenter.
I will explain about the reason why Apple acquired Intel. The reasons or motives Apple acquired the bulk of Intel smartphones is because of the Intel modem business appears to be developing its own 5G chip for iPhone. Besides that, For Apple to develop its own modem is not a priority for Apple since it was complex and hard to build a modem business. So, to build the own modem business requires 2 to 3 years. That is why Apple prefer to acquiring the modem business from the third parties like Intel or Qualcomm, who have spent years or decades since Intel was expert and have knowledge in modem business. So basically, when Apple acquiring the modem business of Intel, Apple can build its own modems to their latest smartphones. For the first reason why Apple acquired Intel, Apple always need to develop its own modem and does not want to rely on other companies' license. Therefore, they want to build a modem that is not accessible to other companies. So after the acquisition between Apple and Intel complete, Apple will own more than 17,000 patents for wireless technology, including patents on wireless standards, modem architecture, and modem operations. This acquirement will give a huge impact to Apple business since Apple can gain significant modem expertise without having start from scratch. Apple also can develop its own modem, plus they can improve wireless performance and battery life on its iPhone. For the second reason, Apple can reduce costs by using its own modems. So developing a modem that can be done in the build house is significantly cheaper than buying a modem from supplier. Apple can protect its margins and not rely too much on their suppliers such as Qualcomm, since Apple has a problem with Qualcomm.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Hanis Umaira with metric number 2625X7. So I will be explaining about the deal structure. Deal structure is a binding agreement between the parties in a merger or acquisition which outline the right and obligation of both parties in the structure of an merger and acquisition agreements. So a deal structure can be referred to as the term and condition of merger and acquisitions. So the nature of contract is present in almost all transactions involving the creation of an agreement between the parties concerned, including venture capital and the purchase of a business requiring all parties to carry out certain activities in order to be deemed final by the agreement. So the structuring of deal is part of the merger and acquisition process, which is one of the steps to be taken in a merger or acquisitions. This is the process of prioritizing the goal of the merger or acquisitions and ensuring that the priority objective of all parties concerned are met, as well as taking into the wake of the risk that each party has to bear. Apple and Intel has signed an agreement for Apple to acquire most of Intel's smartphone modem business. So Apple agreed to acquire 1 billion worth of Intel modem company, both intellectual property, physical property, equipment rentals, and more than 2,200 workers are included in this agreement. So the Intel CEO claimed that the agreement enables them to concentrate on 5G network technology, while retaining the intellectual property and modern technology developed by the team. Under the deal, Intel retains the capacity for non-smartphone application, including PCs, IoT hardware, and self-driving car to develop modern technology. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Izatie Binti and my matrix number is 262035. So I will continue with my part, which is I will explain about value creation. Value creation is activity that can give and increase the value to customer as well as to shareholders. As a thriving business, company also need to consider the expectation of the other shareholders for value creation. The main objective of setting up a business is to create value. There are a lot of benefits in value creation through mergers and acquisition, such as company and can access to the market and rise the number of customers and product. As we know that Apple has been one of the most valuable company in the world. To create value, company will use human resources in more efficient way as well as achieving profitable and sustainable growth. Apple are very pleased and excited to have so many great engineers from the Intel to join their company. In growing group of cellular technology ensure they will thrive the creative and dynamic environment. Value creation can be gained by focusing on innovation for merging with existing technology firms. Hence, mergers and acquisition between Apple and Intel have value creation. As we can see from the news, CEO of the Intel Corporation said the agreement with the Apple allowed them to focus on developing technology for 5G network while maintaining the critical intellectual property and modern technology that their team has created. 5G network will be a good strategy for the Apple because the high-speed network and users also are starting to expect faster performance and more capability. Intel is the ownership of the chip expansion, so by that, Apple will get more benefit. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And before I continue, I will introduce myself. My name is Nur Aisyah. And the next one is how does the acquire organize the acquisitions? And Apple has agreed to acquire the modern business of Intel for the consideration of $1 million. And under the agreement, Apple will get 2,200 Intel employees along with the intellectual property, equipment and also property leases. With the acquisition, Apple will hold over 70,000 wireless technology patent as well as the Intel patent that relate to the smartphone modem, which is 2G, 3G, 4G and 5G modem. And the acquisition also will reduce the Apple dependency on the Qualcomm, which is the dominant supplier of the mobile modem and also the largest competitor to the Intel. And creating an own modem has potential to bring a huge advantage to Apple as it would allow the company to develop modern technology even better than to integrate this modern. And this is the strategy that Apple has taken when it comes to the smartphone and also tablet processor, as it is result to enhancement that put a chip ahead from the other industry rival. And 5G network also are expected to be 10 to 100 times faster compared to the current 4G technology. And Apple also expect to close the deal in 4 quarters after being subjected to the standard regulatory.
Next, I will present my part, corporate governance of Apple Incorporation. Before that, I will introduce myself. My name is Binti Yahya and my metric number is 26208. What is corporate governance? Corporate governance is a structure of rules, practice, and processes used to direct and manage a company. Okay. A company board of directors is the primary force including corporate governance. Board of directors known as the board of the company. There are few roles and responsibilities of the board of directors. First, set out the rule of the company. Second, to elect the CEO of the company by casting their vote. Lastly, responsible for the composition arrangement of the top official. Okay. In every company, they have a single board of directors. It consists of both executive and non-executive. the selection process of board member. To be one of the board member, they must be highly qualified, have strong leadership skill, and have sufficient work experience. Main is a relationship with other shareholder. Shareholder, also known as a stockholder, is a person, company, or institution that owns at least one share of company stock. Majority shareholder, known as a single shareholder, who owns and controls more than 50%, while minority shareholder has less than 50% of a company share or stock. Okay, Apple Incorporation is a private limited company which is owned by its shareholder. So, the shareholder have to take an active role in the company and play a role to choose members who form the board director. So, shareholder have to attend annual general meeting that organized by this company. This is can help to enhance transparency and cultivation of a good bond between the other shareholder and management. Most of the shares at Apple are owned by shareholders through mutual fund ownership, while the rest is held by the top director and executive. This company success because
Next, I will explain about post-acquisition integration. As companies acquire other companies or activities that have previously been rivals, Apple are engaged in a strategy known as integration when business acquire other business or activities that have been previously been competitors, suppliers, clients, or sellers. So firstly is Apple is famous for perfecting the art of vertical integration. This is because as for Apple, they manufactures its custom A-series chips for its iPhones and iPads. They also manufactures its custom Touch ID fingerprint sensor. Apple also opened up a laboratory in Taiwan for the development of their LCD and OLED screen technologies in 2015. So this investment enabled Apple to move the supply chain, giving it flexibility and freedom in its manufacturing capabilities. Secondly, acquisition usually refers to a purchase of a smaller firm by a larger one. Sometimes, a smaller firm will acquire management control of a larger or a longer established company and retain the name of the latter for the post-acquisition combined entity. Thirdly is the variety of technologies and capabilities to be implemented. From this point, this will range from infrastructure such as networks and data centers to business solutions such as HR, finance, and manufacturing to advanced application and collaboration tools depending on the size of this company. It takes careful assessment to decide how to harmonize the data, as new business models can be expensive and can increase timeless integration.
Apple acquisition of Intel modem business is clearly not achieved its objective and toward the path of failure. Intel and Apple have signed an agreement on July 25, 2019 for Apple to acquire the majority of Intel smartphone modem business. On December 2, 2019, Intel announced it has completed the sale of the majority of its smartphone modem business to Apple for $1 billion following regulatory approval. Let's recap the reason or objective Apple engaged with Intel in the first place was to eventually co-develop a modem that could be integrated with an Apple system on a chip, SoC. However, everything that Apple determined and expected for Intel business modem acquisition did not become reality. Apple officially dishes Intel is 15-year-old partner and is completing a year-long effort to control the core component underpinning its primary devices. The announcement was made at the Apple Worldwide Developer Conference (WWDC) on June 22, 2020. At its WWDC, Apple also announced it will begin shipping Macs with its own custom Apple Silicon processor instead of Intel chip, something that was confirmed at the company One More Thing event in November 2020. These chips are based on ARM design, something Apple already used in its iPhone and iPad. Thus, the loss of concentration on the desired objective, failure to formulate concrete strategy with proper control, and the lack of necessary integration processing may contribute to Apple acquisition of Intel modern business failures. Beyond what was shared at WWDC, another main thrust for Apple changing its processor supplier lie with its dissatisfaction with Intel. Intel is falling behind in manufacturing. The rate of innovation and improvement at Intel appear to have slowed in recent years, likely prompting Apple to look elsewhere for a solution. That line of thought was backed up by former Intel engineer Frances Pioneer, who claimed that the quality assurance of the company Skylake chip was abnormally bad, creating a tipping point that convinced Apple to end its partnership with Intel. On November 10, 2020, Apple launched its new M1 chip specifically for the Mac using cutting-edge 5nm process technology and is packed with 16 billion transistors, the most the company has ever put into a chip. In general, the more transistors a chipmaker can fit into the same space, the more efficient the chip is. Currently, Intel chip only with 10nm transistor. Next, the second major contributor Apple moved away from Intel is control. Apple could simply have switched to AMD for its processor, but this will still leave it with the problem of relying on a third-party supplier whose objective may not match Apple's. Apple CEO Tim Cook has frequently said that the company has a long-term strategy of owning and controlling the primary technology behind the product. By bringing the processor design in-house, Apple can coordinate its hardware and software team, ensuring each take advantage of the feature in the other. According to Forbes, Apple could save about $110 per Mac on average by shifting to its own processor, with its gross profit likely expanding by about $2 billion due to the shift by 2022. As mentioned by CCS Insight Research Director Wayne Lam, Apple Silicon is totally in keeping with the strategic goal of Apple to really control an entire stack and technology. Now, in computing, Apple owns everything from silicon to the software to how the user moves the mouse around, so it is tremendously integrated. Controlling its own technology helps Apple integrate its product more deeply. It also means that it runs its own schedule because chip technology takes 3 years to develop and definitely has more control over cost.
Hello, my name is Rega Shania. My metric number is 252468 and I will explain about past, present, and future challenges faced by Intel company and Apple company. For the first company is Intel. The past of Intel at 2015 until 2017, Intel first issues with its 10nm technology regarding Cannon Lake CPU. At this time, the company promised to start volume shipments of its first 10nm products. The codename is Cannon Lake. They blame multi-patterning for high defect density and low yields. At 2018 until 2019, the company promised to start volume shipments of its first time 10nm products in 2017, but company admit that due to poor yields, it would have to move volume products of 10nm CPU to 2019. In 2019, Intel continues to grapple with supply chain issues. They also leading to shipment delays for some customers. This is because Intel struggled to meet customer demand for its computer chips as market growth exceeded expectations. For present, In 2020 until 2021, Intel's 10nm Plus promises to increase transistor performance over 10nm because Intel they have faced tough problems with defect density with its 10nm technology, so they plans to introduce two enhanced version from 10nm to 10nm Plus. In the future, Intel plans to start using its 10nm Plus technology that promises to significantly boost transistor performance. Due to their Intel's 10nm Plus processor, frequency potential is still below than 14nm Plus, which makes this technology a little less attractive for desktop CPU, especially those aimed at gamers. The second company is Apple. The past of Apple in 1976, Apple non-cooperation strategy turned out to be a major weakness for them because they built early reputation on innovative personal computers that were easy for customers to use. But as a result, the price higher than those of competitors. In 2005, after developed iPod and iTunes, then Apple has a lot of software to integrate with PC things, as well as hardware. Apple has only been able to gain supplies from a limited set of suppliers, thus leaving Apple in a vulnerable position. For present, Apple is slightly late to innovate 5G network because the entry of 5G into the market could shake up the competitive landscape for smartphones, projecting a no-growth environment for Apple in 5G in 2019 and into early 2020. Apple made price increasingly every time they launch a new product. This is Apple's strategy is using average selling price or ASP by persuading buyers to opt for more expensive versions. In the future, maybe many other emerging markets there are low-end smartphones offering that potentially threaten Apple to disrupt their mass market demand. Thank you.